Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Dark Knights of Steel Batman. I pre-ordered this guy for the McFarlane toy store, and it seemed to take forever, but he finally arrived today. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse, Batman. Here he is in the package. Looks like he has a sword, display stand, and a collector's card. One side of the package, Batman from Dark Knights of Steel. Other side, Batman. At the bottom, bunch of credits, and there's his barcode, if that helps anybody. And at the back side, here's Batman posed up on a throne. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And I did end up getting two of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, and the other one to keep unopened in my complete, unopened Batman-related action figure collection. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. We have a display stand, a collector's card, and then a large sword. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Batman from Dark Knights of Steel. Dark Knights of Steel is a miniseries in the DC universe. It's set in sort of an alternate what-if reality. We have Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all in sort of medieval looks, medieval armor, etc. Hence, Dark Knights of Steel. Very appropriate, as the name sort of mixes Batman and Superman together. I would anticipate to get the entire Trinity, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, no problem by McFarlane, but who knows. This guy has some similarities with the Gladiator Batman, both really cool figures. Just something about Batman in medieval armor that's really cool. So let's take a look. Starting with his face here, looks good. Look at his chin, he's kind of frowning, got some lines above his lip, a little dimple on his chin. Looks fantastic if you ask me. As we go further up, the eyes, it's not all white, you can actually see the eyes there. The ears, sort of medium length. He has some damage on his cowl. I love that sort of attention to detail. This guy's been through some fights. As we go further down, he's got the bat symbol on his chest. Once again, all kind of damages, scratches, beat up on his armor. Different texturing, you can see that it's armor on top of a different kind of outfit. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. He has this little sort of skirt thing going on. He's got a nice sheath for his sword in the back. His cape also damaged. You can see it's got all these holes in it. A little bit more detailing on his armor here. As a whole, it all looks really cool. Kind of reminds me of the old Legends of the Dark Knight line, where they had all kind of different Elseworlds Batmans in it. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. I love that damage on his cowl. Very nice attention to detail there. You can see the flesh around the neck. His helmet doesn't come down like a traditional bat cowl. Now for his accessories. Starting off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane stand. It's a black circle. Very thin. Very basic, but it gets the job done. Now for his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Batman sitting on a throne. He has a sword. Batman from the Dark Knights of Steel. On the back, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. And finally, for his sword. The blade itself, it looks pretty good. It's made of a sort of bendable type material. It's not too gummy though. And then the handle here has a ton of sculpt and detail in it. Looks very good. It's a very long sword. Here's Batman holding that sword. He can hold it with either one hand or with two. With a handle that big, I'm happy he can hold it with two hands. Sometimes the articulation doesn't work out that way, but they made sure it did on this Batman. And here he is, holstering his sword. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at about 7.1 inches tall, which can translate to 18 centimeters. And if you go to the top of the ears, about 7.25 inches tall. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, you can rotate from side to side. You can look up, not too much. Up and down just a little bit. Tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. The shoulder pads are soft. They're going to move out of the way, not interrupt the articulation. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion and covering that large gap that would be there. He's got a bicep cut, and it's a little bit lower than I expected. double jointed knees below that. Then his wrist, it can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. In his torso, he's got a ball joint. I'd say it's hidden pretty nicely. Rotate around, forward and back. In his waist, he has another one, but the skirt's on top, so you got to kind of hold his legs, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion in his torso area, especially considering he's a big, bulky, armored figure. Legs, completely does the splits. Not a ball joint, McFarlane-style hip joints. Rotation is minimal at best. Then go forward about that far. Back not much. Double jointed knees below that. And then his ankle, forward and back. Rotate, although it's really struggling with that. Tilt rock, and of course, to articulation. Here's a look at this Dark Knights of Steel Batman sitting on a throne in a castle-type setting, just like the back of the package. And here's a look at this Batman utilizing the Black Adam throne. Even though this is more of a throne than the other chair, I still think the other one looks quite a bit better for that shot. Here's a look at this Dark Knights of Steel Batman taking on a Gladiator Superman in an old-school castle-type setting. And a closer look at this Batman. He has the upper hand against Superman, but is it enough? Now let's check him out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other medieval DC figures. Here's the Dark Knights of Steel Batman next to the Gladiator Batman. This is the first figure I thought of when they first showed the Dark Knights of Steel Batman. A lot of similarities, and a lot of differences. Both have an amazing sculpt. And here he is, next to the Tales of the Dark Multiverse, Duke Thomas's Batman. Also, an armored, fantastic sculpt. Then, next to the Future State Superman, I see a lot of people refer to him as the 300 Superman, but I personally call him the Chippendale Superman. And here, next to McFarlane's the Demon Etrigan. This version is also in medieval armor. And finally, here he is, next to a DC Direct Knight from Batman Incorporated. Obviously, he's also in medieval armor. Now let's check him out next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman figures. Here he is, next to several older McFarlane figures, all from the comics. Then, next to some newer McFarlane Batman figures. These are also from the comics. And finally, next to some more Batman figures. These are from different various forms of media. Now let's check them out next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Batman Beyond versus Justice Lord Superman 2-pack. And here he is, next to Jim Gordon as Batman, and both versions of the Santa Batman. Then, next to some Entertainment Earth exclusive gold label sketch figures. We have the Batman Who Laughs, Rebirth Superman, and the White Knight Batman. And now, next to the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive gold label black and white accent Martian Manhunter and Joker. Here's Batman, next to some recent McFarlane Toy Store exclusive gold label figures. We have the patina variants of Merciless and Superboy Prime. Then the Jail Cell Joker and Catman. And here he is, next to the recent Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom movie wave. Here's this Batman, next to the Black and Gray Hush Batman, and the GameStop exclusive Batman and Batraptor 2-pack Batman. And here he is, next to some recent Walmart exclusive gold label figures. We have the Vampire Superman and Green Lantern, then Black Lightning and Captain Atom. Then, next to some recent Target exclusive gold label figures, both versions of the Rebirth Supergirl, Sinestro Corps Batman, and Ted Kord Blue Beetle. And now, with the McFarlane Collector's Edition Wave 2, we have Firestorm, Hawkman, and Sinestro. There's a Platinum Chase variant for each of these three figures, and mine are on the way. Here's Batman, next to the Amazon exclusive Batman and Batwoman Clayface Rebirth 3-pack. Then, next to the Atomic Skull vs. Superman 2-pack. And finally, next to the Batman Ultimate Movie 6-pack. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller, and I'm going to include as many Batman figures as I can during these comparisons. Since we already checked him out next to plenty of other McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman figures, here he is next to some other McFarlane toys. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane toys, all 7-inch scale, and now, next to some Jakks Pacific, and some DST or Diamond Select toys. Here's this Batman, next to a Batman mug. Here he is, next to some DC Direct, and some NECA Batman figures. And here, next to some Mattel, and some Jazzwares wrestling figures. Then, next to some Mezco, and Mattel Batman figures. And now, next to some Mafex, and some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, next to some SH figure arts and some Jazz Force Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a fantastic Batman figure. He looks really cool. The armor looks great. The damage is an extra touch. Sculpt and paint job are excellent. Accessory, the sword, pretty cool. His articulation is good, but there are some parts of him that are kind of bulky and don't move as well as I'd like. Ankles in particular. If I were to rate this guy, I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. I might be undershooting the rating. It's a very nice figure, but I prefer the sort of normal, comic, modern figures. I'm not going to be using this guy too often for action figure photography, although he is a very nice Batman figure. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.